Hi all, welcome to the Marquee Matchups for the 6th of March. Plenty to cover as always. Bit of a bummer with the routes that we had. We'd got an MLS route right and also an Italian route right, but just not to be our way. So if we can smash links, be awesome. Sub to the channel if you're new. Follow me on Twitter at GisLegend. All the links are down below for playlists in the channel and social media links as always. A few of the routes I haven't included in this and I'll explain why. Mainly because I feel they're low on likelihood of happening, but still worth keeping in mind regardless if you have the players in these teams. So first route of the week is Manchester United versus Liverpool. Really strongly fancy this. They have a lot of history between both teams. Two of the most successful teams in England and even in the world really when you think about it with what they've done, especially in Europe. But probably 78 to 79 rated squad, as long as they don't go like that 80 kind of rated and make it mental requirements and then give you a rubbish pack in return, kind of as you see with the Napoli Roma option this week. In terms of Manchester United players, probably look at Jones, Carrick, Fellaini as a few examples. Liverpool could be like Ings. Over to Italy, we have a couple of options of Chievo versus Verona and Inter versus Napoli. Inter versus Napoli I would kind of just pass on because Napoli is obviously featuring this week, but Chievo and Verona is like the Verona derby and has a very strong chance of happening. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10 as a result of it. For me, Gambarini, players like that are kind of smart shouts. Verona is, you've also got like Romelu for him. He's just done an upgrade. He'll be quite a popular card to go for. He's went from a silver to a gold. But 7 out of 10, as long as you've got a 78 rated Calcio A squad, in my eyes, I feel you're going to be well and truly covered. It's just a case of wherever they were to pick this game. Over to the Championship, we have Aston Villa versus Wolves in a top of the table clash. Both teams fighting for promotion, and Nottingham Forest versus Derby. Both games have a very strong shout. I would give them both personally a 6. I feel one of them could sneak in. They would be my alternative game to focus on this week. In terms of Aston Villa, you've got Snodgrass, you've got Kodja. There's a couple of examples. Wolves, you've got Neves and Ndiaye. Jota. Nottingham Forest, if you were to look at Nottingham Forest, you could go for Pantilemon's a good example since he's just recently joined. Derby, you've got Tom Huddleston for example. I'm just talking golds, and Curtis Davis is because they're golds basically to kind of work with. But 75 rated squad I've kind of prepared for because I'm preparing for the higher end rather than the lower end, which is that 70-72 bracket. Bundesliga has Bayern and Hamburg this week. These two have never been relegated as far as I'm aware. In fact, I think Bayern have been relegated, I might be wrong. But both teams have a historic history in the Bundesliga if you know your German football. But basically this game I've given a 7 out of 10. Bayern players Wagner, Kimmich, Rudy, and then with Hamburg you've got Papadopoulos, Santos the left back, Mafina as well as the goalkeeper, and they're just kind of some options that you can kind of look at. Could it happen? I'm strongly fancying it as a 7 out of 10. I feel Bundesliga is going to feature and it's just one of these kind of smart games to go for. Over to the Eredivisie, we have Heracles versus Twente, which is the lowest rated option of the week of a 3 out of 10. The reason why I don't fancy it is mainly while it is deemed a derby, both teams are kind of low end in the table and there's nothing really significant that seems to stand out on really it featuring, mainly because of what's out there this week, and I feel they can easily pass on it and go for something else in return. But still, if you've got players in Eredivisie at least, I wouldn't be surprised if this was the kind of route where the players went sky high, so don't be surprised if this was to suddenly drop and Heracles and Twente players were to go a fortune. SPFL has 3 options of Rangers versus Celtic for the Old Firm, Hamilton versus Motherwell for the Lanark, and Hibs versus Hearts for the Edinburgh Derby. One of them's going to feature, I feel, because of like the whole SPFL League SBC hype. People will think, oh, that'll drop, depending on when they decide to drop it. For me, from like Rangers and Celtic, look at Comper, Griffiths, Armstrong, Alves, Cardozo, Tierney. Hibs and Hearts, you want to look at like McGinn, Slivka, Amankwa, Jack Hamilton, Doom, Hamilton and Motherwell. You want to look at like Templeton and Bigliarama, Hartley as well. So I would say all three are probably around that 6, 7 out of 10 bracket. It's which one they pick is the big question in my personal opinion. 3 games all stand out and they're all derbies in their own right. From there we go over to Argentina. It's Huracan versus San Lorenzo. Now I'm not fancying this because of next week is the Boca Juniors River Plate game. So as a result I'm giving this a lower option, but I think because even though we've had Boca Juniors River Plate already, I feel that's the game that is more appealing, more enticing. But I would imagine with 2 weeks of Argentina games like in the league, one of them's going to drop. So depends which one they decide to opt for, but as long as you're prepared from Huracan, San Lorenzo and then Boca Juniors River Plate when it comes, so you're getting a step ahead guys this week. So PAOK versus AAK Athens is the last of the week. Just to say as well, there is another Greek League option happening next week, so hopefully you're prepared with both options, because you never know, they always seem to be having a lot of these games just now. It's been like the last few weeks in a row, which is quite hilarious. So as long as you're prepared with a Greek League option regardless. Most of them are like cheap golds anyway, like Ray, Siba, El Abdulili, Malido, Botia, just as a few examples, and Levadia. But in terms of my options, Man United, Liverpool, Bayern, Hamburg, Chievo, Hellas, Verona, and then between Rangers, one of the Scottish games, and then maybe Aston Villa, Wolves, Forest, Derby as an alternative. So in terms of other games that stand out, Bohemians, St Pat's, Luton, Accrington, Swindon, Cheltenham, Exeter, Yeovil and Salerno versus Avellino. I don't fancy the bottom 5 that I've just mentioned to happen, but hopefully that gives you enough food for thought. Let me know in the comments down below what you fancy for the marquee matchups this week. Smash likes as always, sub to the channel if you're new, follow me on Twitter, GZLegend, and I will catch you all later.